Hello, everybody. Welcome back to MTG Bulk Mythic on YouTube. What I have here is the second to last of the Colleges of Strixhaven in the previous pack openings. This one is Lorehold. This is the red-white college. Supposed to be centered in archaeology. Expect a lot of artifacts, and just like digging everything else up out of the ground, they threw a little bit of graveyard shenanigans in with this college as well. So this is been touted as kind of the solution to the problem of red-white aggro and about how it kind of peters out. But taking a look here, first things first, there's our red and white die. This is a color combination I really haven't seen before. Some of the other ones they've kind of already done as far as like the coloration and then just stamping it there with the college on the D20. But that's kind of a cool little combination of colors in the speckling. Here's our deck box. We'll get that out of the way. Now, this is something I haven't been saving these, but I noticed is each one of these is a piece of the overall integrated key art for the set. The only thing is I've seen some people actually put all 5 of the colleges together, like here's Silver Quill up here, and you have the oracle in the center, etc. But there's a big hole in the middle of it, even if you line all of these up, that you're kind of missing, which I think is almost like a college prank. I'm not too sad I haven't been saving those, but I think that's kind of an interesting thing if you're someone who wants to go into those. Looking here, our rare is exponential growth, which is XX green green. Until end of turn, double target creature's power X times. You have to pay twice the mana on it, but you double it that many times. It's a very interesting combination of mana cost and ability there. It feels very Quandrix to me, even though it's in mono green. Here's a little deck divider. And then we go straight into our seeded pack. So Lorehold, red, white, aggro, trying to give it a little bit of reach, trying to give it some mana fixing. I'm not going to lie to you. I did pick up a couple of the commander decks, and Lorehold was not one of the ones I picked up, even though I've been thinking about it as far as like seeing some of the things they've thrown into white and red to shore up things like card draw and all that kind of stuff. I'm going to go ahead and start positioning them because these draft packs are going to have the rest of the colors anyway. If you haven't noticed yet in my videos, I go white, blue, black, red, green. So I go Wooburg order, and then I have my multicolored, for the sake of sorting a sealed pool, colorless, and then my lands. And then when I sort them for the collector binder, there's true colorless, and then there's artifact spells in the order of their collector numbers. So I'm going to go ahead and prep the battlefield for that. Introduction to Prophecy is probably one of the strongest lesson cards in the colorless pile of commons, because it just gives you that card selection, card draw that is not common in all of the different colors. So having that to learn in a different color is pretty good. We have another lesson here in our rare slot. It's 2 and 2 red for Illuminate History. Discard any number of cards and draw that many cards. Then if there are 7 or more cards in your graveyard, create a 3/2 red and white spirit creature token. So it feeds itself, right? And there's an Inkling token that we're not going to need. Oh yeah, and these in the seeded pack are double-sided. So there's our 3/2 spirit creature, an Inkling, an Elemental, and another spirit creature. And then we got another one of the write-in cards. Now, if you're someone like me who likes to use custom tokens, and you have a game store like TC's Rockets, and you can get yourself some custom tokens there. There's the 3/2 spirit. They did one of each for the pets in Strixhaven, which is kind of cool. I got a set for buying a box, the collector box that we're going to be opening later on the channel, so stay tuned for those. And let's go ahead and dig into our regular draft pack. So the standard draft pack is what a normal booster pack always was before Booster Fun occurred and they started making all these different booster packs. So you're going to have 10 commons. You're going to have 3 uncommons, a rare, and a land in these. And so we're hoping to get some good red and white cards to go ahead and build off of our pool so that we can stay in Lorehold, right? And here we go. Our first rare is a mythic. It's Ecological Appreciation. X, 2 generic, and a green. Sorcery, search your library and graveyard for up to 4 creature cards with different names that each have a mana cost value X or less, and reveal them. An opponent chooses 2 of those cards, shuffle those into your library, and put the rest on the battlefield. Exile Ecological Appreciation. So for 5 mana, you can search 2 creature cards from your library and graveyard that have converted mana cost 2 or less, and then the opponent can essentially put both of those into your library. So you'd have to get pretty high up there, I think, to really start getting value out of this. It's really going to be like a ramp and recursion kind of card. But then we get into our first Mystical Archive. It's Claim the Firstborn, and another write-in token. So for those who don't know, we'll go ahead and take a look at this. So this is number 6 of 9. So it's, if you put it into a 3x3 binder page, it would be in the middle on the right edge. But you see the artwork behind the box. You put all 9 of them into a binder page, and you get a piece of key art from the set. In this case, I believe it's the Oracle at the in the center of the commons there. An Archway Commons, some mana fixing is always good in sealed. Pigment Storm here deals 5 damage to target creature. Excess damage is dealt to that creature's controller, so it's essentially a sorcery with trample, but it's 5 damage for 5 mana. Not bad in limited. Definitely would be playable, especially as slow as this format is. Casting a 5 mana removal spell is pretty good. It's going to be playable. Conspiracy Theorist is our rare here. 1 in a red for a 2/2 human shaman. Whenever it attacks, you may pay a generic mana and discard a card. If you do, draw a card, so it has rummage for 1 whenever it attacks. And then whenever you discard 1 or more non-land cards, you may exile 1 of them from your graveyard, and if you do, you may cast it this turn. So it's kind of a combination of boast, but you have to do it as it's attacking. So in the declare attacker step, you don't have the ability of boasting later on in the turn after it's attacked. But it's a combination of boast and madness, where if it's a non-land card that that you discarded, you can exile it and then cast it. So that's pretty cool. And look at that, another harmonize. So if you've been paying attention, if you watched the other openings, this is literally my 5th harmonize out of 4 pre-release packs and an ad card. Don't need that. So I don't know where the rest of the rare and mythical archive cards are, but I got all the harmonize. If anybody if you got something else, hit me up and maybe we can kind of trade around. I don't know how valuable harmonize is, but I have got 5 of them now. Hopefully I don't get too many more. I'd like to see some of the other cards out here. Heated Debate is going to be the classic common removal spell in this format. It cannot be countered for 3 mana, 2 in a red, and it deals 4 damage to a creature or planeswalker. So that cannot be countered is going to be a big deal. It might even sneak into constructed play with that ability. Just making sure that you can kill a 3 toughness or 4 toughness creature or get rid of a planeswalker is pretty good. And then here we go with a mythic rare modal double face card. Blex Vexing Pest. It is 2 and a green on the front side for a 3/2. Other pests, bats, insects, snakes, and spiders you control get +1/+1. And when it dies, you gain 4 life. So it's basically pumping an infestation, right? And then on the back side is Search for Blacks, which is 2 and 2 black for a sorcery. Look at the top 5 cards of your library. You may put any number of them into your hand, the rest into your graveyard. You lose 3 life for each card you put into your hand this way. So you can take all 5 cards if you want to lose 15 life, or any combination thereof. And you're hoping to dig deep enough, apparently, to find good old Blacks here. So we're going to put him over here. Our Mythical Archive card is an Eliminate right here. First time I've seen that one. Cool little removal spell there. Definitely seeing constructed play. And then we have a Rowan emblem. Haven't seen Will and Rowan yet. That's definitely a modal double face card I hope to open in some of these packs. Now, these pre-release kits aren't the only attempts I'm going to make at that, obviously. Definitely have an entire box of collector boosters that we're going to be opening over a couple of 3 videos here pretty soon. So be, again, paying attention to the channel for that. In our obligatory spell slot, we have a rare, so it's going to be a 2 rare pack. We have 1 green for basic conjuration, sorcery lesson. Look at the top 6 cards of your library. You may reveal a creature card from among them and put it into your hand. Put the rest on the bottom of your library in random order and gain 3 life. So go 6 deep and get a creature that you want. That's a pretty strong spell right there in green for the lesson board. Granted, we're trying to stay in red-white, so we may not be learning that one, but we'll put that in the collection for later. We got Fracture, and then Semester's End. Now, this is a white instant for 3 and a white. Exile any number of target creatures and or planeswalkers you control. At the beginning of the next end step, return each of them to the battlefield under its owner's control, and then each of them enters with an additional +1/+1 counter on it if it's a creature, or a loyalty counter if it's a planeswalker. So this is kind of a simplified Teferi's protection for the most part. Like, you don't phase out for an entire rotation of the board, but it can definitely protect your board from a board wipe or anything like that. You do it, but and you get to be selective. So if you have creatures that are in combat that you want to go ahead and let deal their damage, you can let that happen. If not, then take them out and protect them for a while. Defiant Strike. Here's our Mythical Archive in white. And then we have a foil lesson, Fractal Summoning, which is X and 2 hybrid green or blue to create a 0/0 green fractal creature token with X +1/+1 counters on it. So unless we're splashing pretty heavily either green or blue, probably not both, we may not be playing that. And looking at our land situation, it doesn't look like we have a whole lot of help necessarily in splashing. Witherbloom Campus is neither of our colors. And other than the Lorehold that we got in our seeded pack, all we have is an Archway common. So we'll have to see how that goes. Letter of Acceptance, though, can help fix in any color. We got some Prismari gold cards and hybrid cards there. We are seeing a lot of red, if you haven't noticed that already. Expel is a good removal card for limited there. Another Fractal Summoning. There's a Lorehold Apprentice. Team Pennant. I mean, it's good if you're playing a lot of tokens. There aren't too many token strategies, but if you have to play green as your off color, having an emergence sequence isn't terrible. And we have a modal double-faced rare again. And this one, it's the Dean of Perfection on the front side for 2 and a blue. It's a 2/2 legendary Djinn Wizard. You can tap to exile an instant or sorcery card from your hand and put 3 hone counters on it. And then it gains at the beginning of your upkeep. If this card is exiled, remove a hone counter from it. And when the last counter is removed, if it's exiled, you may cast it. It costs 4 colorless less to cast this way. So very similar to Suspend, except in this case, when the hone counters are removed, vice the time counters, it just reduces the cost instead of allowing you to cast it for free. And then we have Dean of Expression on the backside. 3 red for a 4/4 legendary Efreet Shaman. At the beginning of your upkeep, exile the top card of each opponent's library. Until the end of turn, you may cast spells from among those, and you may spend mana as though it were mana of any color to cast those spells. Whenever you cast a spell from exile, put a +1/+1 counter on the Dean of Expression. So in this Lorehold deck, we can play the backside. So for that case, so we're not trying to splash blue and we don't forget about, I'm going to put that in the red pile face up. And then we have a Village Rites in black and a treasure token. So plenty of red for Lorehold, a little bit light on white. But, with this pile of red, we should be able to pull quite a bit out. We didn't hit too many colorless lessons. Just Environmental Sciences, Introduction to Annihilation, Introduction to Prophecy. So we'd have to look at our learn cards to see if maybe Environmental Sciences will help us splash a color. But otherwise, Did see some good removal in both red and white, especially with things like, you know, Defiant Strike. It can be used as a combat trick, usually a removal card that replaces itself. We've got Beaming Defiance for a combat trick. And then in red, we've got a couple of the removal spells, the damage-based Heated Debate, Pigment Storm, all that kind of good stuff. So I don't know. Maybe there's something here in Lorehold, or maybe we have to switch over. But either way, I will put a link to a tapped out list of this pool in the description below. Check it out. Let me know what you would think, what you think you would build. And in the meantime, find us on Facebook, follow the channel, give us a thumbs up if you like what we're doing, leave some comments about what we're doing right, what would you like to see, and share the video with a friend to let everybody know that we're out here sharing our hobby together.